I'm the communications officer at the Youth Trust, and with me today
is Phil Freed. Yeah, Phil Freed. I am one of the directors of operations and business development for the Youth Trust.
Well, thanks for joining us today. And the reason I asked you is because you've been in sort of this sector for quite a while. We actually have another podcast with you talking a bit about that. But yeah, you've been dealing with safeguarding for quite a while, like 20 years or something, haven't you? Sort of stretching back to.
I'll take 20 years. Yeah, it's a few more actually, but I'll take generous.
20. So what is safeguarding for people out there who aren't certain with what the actual term means?
Sure. So safeguarding is, as it sounds, it is safeguarding people we work with, keeping them safe. Now, that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and it can actually look very, very different in practice as well. But safeguarding is one of the underpinning principles of the work we do in all of our services. So I always make the quip. I've got two jobs really. One, to make everybody safe, and everyone I work with, whether it's staff or the people we support, and one, to make as many people as I can happy. Unfortunately, they don't always go hand in hand. But safeguarding is one of the underpinning principles. So what that will be is if there's an identified risk to somebody, it will be the things that we put in place working with that person in order to mitigate that risk. And you might never mitigate the risk fully, or you might not be able to mitigate the risk at all. But it's about identifying it and having the actions in place where we can put together a plan so we can make sure that everybody knows exactly what to do in certain circumstances. It's such a varied and wide area. It's difficult to give examples, but we safeguard people from everything from going out into the community and crossing the road, road safety, to going away on a holiday with their friends and family, or their friends even. So yeah, it could be everything. If you name it, if it poses a risk, it could be a potential safeguarding.
Yeah, I mean, even myself, as somebody who's not in the sort of the care or frontline care work, we do our sort of policy training every year.
Absolutely, health and safety goes hand in hand with safeguarding. We need our health and safety under the laws that we operate as an employer, but they go hand in hand with the work that we do with people. We have to adhere to health and safety law and rules, and we have to adhere to safeguarding rules.
So what kind of systems do we have in place to respond to sort of low-level concerns, for example, before they even escalate to needing, I don't know, paramedics or doctors on the scene?
One of the biggest things that we do is training. Training underpins a lot of the work we do around having the systems in place. We have a policy, and everyone is aware of the policy. We also have a procedure, and we also have guidelines. So we have 3 separate different documents, and we have, again, another 3 separate ones for children and 3 for adults. So it's 6 in total. So it covers, because the focuses are different. With regards to the systems in place and training is not simply sitting in a room talking about it. We do e-learning. We also do on-the-job training with shadowing members of staff. We discuss it in team meetings. We have safeguarding quizzes that we do in between training refreshers. So that will be literally, it will be, as it sounds, there'll be a series of questions that staff will undertake, like a survey, and they'll have to ensure that they can answer those questions. And if they don't know what those answers are, explain them out and have them in professional discussions. So it's not just as simple as sitting in a class and doing the training. But also we work really closely with all of our partner agents. That's everyone from the police to our landlords to the local community. We maintain excellent relationships with those people in order for them to be able to come to us if they've got any concerns, and for us to go to them if we've got any concerns as well.
Well, I mean, you just covered quite a bit. I mean, so staff are training quite a hands-on ways. Of course, they're trained in abstract ways, whether it be online, and of course with the community. And you also sort of work with volunteers. So it's not just staff who are on the pay. You're working with volunteers who also get this training.
Absolutely. Anybody that works with us, if they're working with us, then like I said before at the beginning of this, one of our underpinning principles is safeguarding. So it doesn't matter whether you're a paid employee or a volunteer. Safeguarding is important for everybody. It's everybody's business. So we take it just as seriously for our volunteers as we do our paid staff.
Okay.
And they get the same level of training, as do our internal bank staff get all the same level of training. It's not a graded training. It might be focused different depending on the service people are working in, but it's not. It's the same. It's given the same level of importance.
Okay. And of course, this is an industry-wide thing within the care sector and within many other sectors. Is there a standard safeguarding? Does everybody follow the same kind of principles or the same kind of safeguarding 101? So would someone in Scotland, for example, in an organisation there, I don't know, in nursing, be doing the same things that we're doing, or is everything tailored slightly differently?
That is a really, really good question. Ultimately, the answer is yes. However, as with everything, there is some nuances. So every local authority, every council has its own safeguarding approach and they might call it an approach, they might call it a concordat or some sort of agreement that you would sign up to, and they are governed by the national legislation, but they might differ with the differences will become in the procedures and how you report it. They might have different names for the different officers and officers. So all you would need to know is wherever you're working, who it is you need to report to. Essentially, the concepts of safeguarding are always the same, and the different types of risk that are posed through safeguarding remain the same. It doesn't matter whether you're in Timbuktu, Scotland, or Portsmouth.
Yeah. Okay, I see. And I'm assuming that's government policy, isn't it? It's a room of higher level officials working with the industry, working
with industry. I think the important part is working with industry, working with providers, working with the people that need to make the decisions affect. Yeah.
So, as an organization, do we ever feed our sort of, I don't know, not results, that wouldn't be the correct term, but how do we give feedback into the structures that are in place for safeguarding? Do we have the opportunity to feedback to government once a year, every 10 years?
Yeah, we do. We do it through various different mechanisms, and I would say we have much more influence at a local level. So with regards to local authorities, because we work closely with the local authority, we have direct reporting mechanisms to them. We would report it anyway as part of if there was a safeguarding alert. But then what we would do is we would take our own numbers and then we would discuss those in our quarterly report meetings and our annual meetings with local authorities. So yeah, we've got a lot of opportunities to discuss those. And we look at, as an organisation, we look at trends as well. So we look at geographical trends, we look at service-based trends, and if there are any, and then if we notice those at board level, we then take those back to the senior management team, and we take those forward with the local authority if needed.
So in other words, some things that might be trending, not in the sense, of course, online, but certain things that might take place a bit higher frequency in, I don't know, Dorset.
A good example is county lines. The use of young people and vulnerable people to get illicit substances, whatever they be, from the big cities to the more remote areas. We see that a lot in the more rural areas as well, where resources are stretched a little bit thinner. Even if there might be more affluent areas, there might not be as many policemen, there might not be as many various different officers in different departments. So yeah, we see that quite a lot. That contextualizes a little bit. For adults, we see there are many different types of safeguarding that we see, and they could be everything from neglect, self-neglect, modern slavery. All of those, the things that you hear in the news, unfortunately, that make the headlines.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you support staff to recognize subtle signs? Like you mentioned, for example, self-neglect, which is one thing that takes place, which since COVID, of course, that sort of became a massive issue. But how do you get them to sort of see things like coercion or potential, as you mentioned, slavery, that kind of thing? I mean, obviously, it comes down to training. It comes down to, I suppose, seminars or something along those lines to show them what they're to look out for?
To break it right down, ultimately, one of the ways that we support the people that we support, and it's successful, is we know the people we're working with. We get to know them. We get to know what their baseline is. We get to know how they behave, what their behaviors are. So when those behaviors change subtly, normally quite subtly, we can ask those questions, and they won't necessarily feel we're being intrusive. So, for example, if someone's wearing more layers, if someone's more wearing high collared tops, for example, and someone who would normally wear a t-shirt suddenly starts wearing a jumper, or they're wearing a big coat in the middle of summer. Those are the sort of things that we look out for. We have a ethos, which is safeguarding. As I said at the beginning of this discussion, safeguarding is everybody's responsibility. Those words are so important, because if you look back for children's safeguarding, if you go back as far, this isn't a lecture, but if you go back as far as Victoria Kalimbe, which is a horrific story that we talk about in children's safeguarding, one of the reasons that got picked up the way it did, irrespective of the amount of people that were dealing with her and the amount of agencies, is because a taxi driver thought that the behaviour of the parents was very strange.
Just one person.
Her wasn't her parents; it was her auntie and her auntie's boyfriend. But yeah, and I think that's really important. We have had phone calls from local shopkeepers to say to us, we've noticed that X is out here and she's not really behaving the way she normally behaves. She's with us now, and she's and it might not necessarily be a safeguarding issue, but it's definitely a safety issue. It could have been anything. It could have been the ex has been mugged, or she'd seen something, or someone said something to her. So I think it's understanding that we need to be responsible for supporting everybody with regards to this, so that they can understand what we need in order to keep the people we work with safe.
this week, of course, is Safeguarding Week, and everyone automatically assumes this is a care sector only environment. But actually, it spills out into real life, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
if everyone's
it does.
safeguarding each other, then you can pick up on these things that potentially no one's slipping through the cracks, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much, Phil, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.